Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Matt Tebow with Stack.gg, and today I'm joined by assistant coach of FlyQuest Sharkz, coming off of a rather unfortunate loss to Dignitas. How are you doing today, man?
Uh, could be better. Could be better. Of course, after a loss, we don't have the same positive vibes that after a win, but still showed some progress that what we were working on in practice. So it's not as bad as it might seem.
Of course. So, one of the things I first want to ask you, it's week 3 in the split, coming in, it's about the halfway point, especially after walking. You guys have worked out a lot. You figured out what's the meta, what's not the meta, what do we want to play. How do you feel like FlyQuest has adapted and have adapted to their own play style as well?
I think we're still searching what fits us the most. I don't think we found our identity yet. We're trying a bunch of different compositions with a bunch of different, play styles. Sometimes we have Hasedeode as main carry. Sometimes we have Johnson. Sometimes Eric is playing Camille. So it depends. It depends. I still say that like we're a completely new team, right? Only Palafox and Diamond played together on the previous team. So it will take us some time. I think closer to summer split we'll be more clear about our identity and about our strengths as a team. But so far it's still work in progress.
What do you think FlyQuest has improved on as the time has gone on?
I think we improved on taking the ocean dragons for the bees. It's our higher priority, of course. What we improved on, I think we improved on understanding each other better, how we view the game, how to listen to each other, how to get involved to involve others. It's still like long way to go towards the levels that we want to be at. So I think players learn a lot individually. Of course, when we have Brandon Hasedeode coming from different region, he has his own view how he wants to play the game that we really value. We think he has a incredible individual play. So where we as coaches and the rest of his teammates getting used to the way how he wants to play the game. And it's a good way the way how he sees it. So I think it's let's say by the beginning of the summer split, I'm sure you guys will be able to see consistent FlyQuest.
Moving on to your opponent, Dignitas. A lot of people had him near the bottom of the power rankings going into the LCS and even the lock-in, and they're 5-2. Has Dig surprised you at all with their performance? Were you surprised by how well they played today, or was it just a matter of course?
Scouting this team and watching their previous games, they surprised me in a positive way. How good they're as a team compared to some other LCS teams. How fast they managed to get on the same page. Watching how they approach team fights, how they approach specific macro concepts, feels like they click faster than the rest of the teams. So I'm not surprised that their current score is 5-2.
That's interesting. Do you think there's any particular reason Dig is able to snap into it? Do you think it's a superior coaching or what?
I'm not sure, right? Like I've never been part of their team, neither never seen how they do stuff behind the scene, right? Just what I remember when Aframo was back in CLG, it was, I think, I was just like a fan watching NA League of Legends back then and seeing some of the voice comms, how Afro communicated. It feels like just Aframo natural leadership qualities helps his teammates to get on the same page faster, especially in game. It feels like, he says this magical words and everybody just plays towards one objective, or everybody knows his clear target in the team fight. Watching some of their team fights from previous week, it feels like they're everybody on the same page. They're really efficient of the way how I approach team fights. So I'm not sure if it's Aframo, if it's coaching, if it's, work of every single player and input from every single player. I think Dardoch having a lot of fun with this roster as well, where Aframo leadership and 3 more players, I would even call them rookies compared to Aframo, allow him to play this aggressive style and have full trust in him. So it's fun. It's fun to see their development.
Of course. Moving on from that, I also want to talk about the big news that's come through the league, and pretty much that's the conversation of the import rule. We know that these talks are happening. They were basically confirmed during the media days that we had earlier this past week, and I wanted to get your input on that. Particularly a lot of players, figures in the community, and especially staff from leagues overseas, like Carlos from G2, also had a rather negative input on it. I'm curious, what do you think of the talks about potentially reworking or removing the import rule?
I would just say I would like all major regions and all regions who participate at World Championship have similar rules or close to similar rules. So let's say if if NALCS looking to move or get rid of their import rule, then I would like other regions to do it as well. So everybody, let's say everybody has the same conditions to be able to compete for the world title, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd rather, since I'm sure, let's say Korea, China, and probably Europe will not do it, I'd rather NALCS keep the same rule and keep developing NA talent. That's it. I think having a rule where you need to have American players on your team is healthy for the region long term in terms of player development.
Mm-hmm. Now, you say you'd like to see other regions develop the same kind of changes. What's your reasoning behind that? Why should it be uniform instead of just North America?
For me, just because the final tournament where every single player wants to compete is World Championship, and I don't think it's going to be fair, let's say, if North American team is allowed to, let's say, just completely sign 5 Korean players and bring Korean players. Meanwhile, Europe needs to have, let's say, two European players or 3 European players. I'm not vouching for getting rid of import rule in other regions. I'm vouching for import rule to stay. Like maybe they can re-edit it, right, or change it a little bit. Maybe they want to change, let's say, how much time the player needs to spend in this league, in this region, to get NA residency. It's up to them, but I'll still prefer for NA players to be a mandatory part of NA infrastructure and NA teams, building rosters around NA players.
All right, perfect. Once again, this is assistant coach for FlyQuest, Sharkz. I'm Matt Tebow with Stacked. You can find us online at stacked.gg, and you can follow us on our socials at StackedLOL. Sharkz, man, thanks for coming along, and good luck in the rest of the weekend.
Thanks for the interview, Matt.